welcome to Live Interactive English. I'm Matt.
And I'm Karen. Today we are looking at a story called The Monkey's Paw, and we're talking about part 1 of the story, The Monkey's Paw. But just by looking at the title of the story, Matt, can you guess what the story is about?
I don't know, so it's a monkey's paw. So, I know sometimes people will have a lucky rabbit's foot.
Oh, okay.
So that's something they'll keep with them to give them good luck. And it's supposed to be, an actual rabbit's foot. You can keep it usually on like a keychain.
Yeah.
And that brings you good luck.
Like an actual, like a real rabbit's foot?
I think it's an actual rabbit's foot, yeah.
Sounds kind of scary.
Yeah, I don't know if you want to carry around a part of an animal in your pocket.
So maybe the monkey's paw can also bring you good luck.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe that's how, in places where they have lots of rabbits, they use a rabbit's foot. In places where there are lots of monkeys, maybe you can just substitute a monkey's paw.
I guess you could be right, or maybe the monkey's paw's got some magic. Or maybe like Elsa magic. Elsa turns everything into ice, right? So maybe the monkey's paw can turn everything into bananas.
Into bananas?
Right? Because he loves bananas, right?
I guess, yeah. So it's kind of like, there's another old story about King Midas.
Oh, yes.
This king who, everything he touched turned to gold because he wished that everything would turn to gold. And of course, a king wants gold. So a monkey would want bananas, so they'd want everything they touch to turn into bananas.
I think I might be right. But I guess we really have to read on to find out.
Find out.
Let's do that.
It was a cold, wet night, and the White family was relaxing at home. Mrs. White was knitting by the fireplace, and Mr. White was playing chess with their son Herbert. Suddenly, there was a knock at the door. It was Mr. White's old friend Morris, who had recently returned from India. He told them stories about his travels and adventures. Mr. White asked about the strange monkey's paw that Morris had mentioned a few days ago. Morris clearly did not want to discuss it, but Mr. White insisted. Reluctantly, Morris produced the mummified paw from his pocket and placed it on the Whites' dinner table.
Hello everyone, today we are looking at a story, and today we're looking at part 1 of The Monkey's Paw.
That's right, and we are looking at this word paw, and that is a noun. So paw basically just means the foot of an animal that has claws, right? Like the monkey's paw, or the dog's paw, or the little kitten's paws, and they're so cute. So for example, when you hold your hand out, Janet's dog will place its left paw on top of it. It's kind of like shaking hands, right?
Yeah, I know, like sometimes I'll ask, my sister's dog is really good at shaking a paw.
Oh,
so
that's
instead
right.
of shaking a hand, you go shake a paw, and you get to shake hands with the dog.
Oh, do you actually say shake paws, and then he will understand?
Shake a paw. You go shake a paw, and then he...
That is so cute. Okay, but we are going to go into today's story though. So let's begin. It was a cold, wet night, and the White family was relaxing at home. The White family was relaxing at home. So they're not really doing anything. They're not really busy doing something. They're relaxing, maybe sitting on their couch, sitting in the chair. Okay, so Mrs. White was knitting by the fireplace, and Mr. White was playing chess with their son Herbert. So knitting, what's knitting? Do you know?
Knitting is usually you have some yarn, and you take the yarn and you use 2 sticks to put it together, usually to make something like maybe like a sweater like this.
That's right, or maybe like a scarf or even a hat, right?
So,
okay,
so they mentioned that she was knitting by the fireplace. So fireplace is a noun, and it means a place in your home where you can have a fire.
That's right.
So usually it's something made of stone or some concrete, something that does not burn, so that you can have a fire, and then the smoke goes up through a chimney to the outside of the house. So Arnold sat by the fireplace and read a book.
Aww.
And since it is a cold, wet night, it's nice that they can relax by the fireplace because that will keep their house nice and warm.
That's right. And it's very common in North America to have fireplace in their home, right?
Yes.
But it's not that common actually in Taiwan to have a fireplace.
Well, if you're living in an apartment building, it's hard to have a fireplace because the chimney needs to go all the way to the top.
You could get a fake one though.
That's right, yeah. My parents now in Canada have a fake one.
Really?
So, yeah.
So it's really nice. Okay, so let's continue. What's happening now in the story?
Suddenly, there was a knock at the door. It was Mr. White's old friend Morris, who had recently returned from India.
Okay, so his old friend, and he just returned from India. Maybe he was on a trip or something, right?
Right, and when we say old friend, we don't necessarily mean he's old in age. It just means a friend that he's had for a long time.
That's right, so he hasn't probably seen him for a long time too, right? So he told them stories about his travels and adventures. So I'm pretty sure it was really exciting, right? That he had, the trip that he had to India. Because when you're talking about adventures, you're talking about maybe something that you have never done before, something that's very exciting. So Mr. White asked about the strange monkey's paw that Morris had mentioned a few days ago. A strange monkey's paw. So I guess Morris was talking to Mr. White about this before, right?
Yeah, so I guess they've already talked. So, he's seen him recently, a few days ago, and they've talked about this monkey's paw.
And he says strange monkey's paw.
So something is
weird,
not normal about this monkey's paw. Morris clearly did not want to discuss it, but Mr. White insisted. That means that Morris didn't want to, but Mr. White kept asking, kept making him tell him about this strange monkey's paw.
That's right. He's like, come on, tell me. I really want to listen to the story, right?
So, reluctantly, Morris produced the mummified paw from his pocket and placed it on the Whites' dinner table.
Mummified? What does that mean?
Mummified means that it is like very old. There's no more moisture. It is very dry. So it's dried out to the point that it's not going to become like smelly or rotten or anything. It's just so much like, it's almost like a stick or like stone now. It's
just like mummies, right?
It's like a mummy, how they would take all of the wetness out of a body when they make a mummy. So this has no more wetness, no more moisture inside it.
So that means it's a real monkey's paw. Right? Okay, and we have this vocabulary word here, reluctantly, and that is an adverb. So when you're saying this reluctantly, somebody's doing something reluctantly. That means they're not really willing to do it. They're kind of showing doubt about doing something. It's like, I don't really want to. So it's like, I don't really want to tell you about the story. But then he still did it. So in our example sentence, it says Lana reluctantly forgave her little sister. So I guess she didn't really want to, but then eventually she did forgive the little sister.
You have to. You live with your sister, you have to eventually forgive her.
Forgive and forget, but sometimes it's very hard.
Okay, yeah. So I'm interested to find out what's going to happen with the strange monkey paw, and I hope we can learn more about exactly why he carries around a monkey's paw in his pocket.
I'm pretty sure there's an interesting story, but right now we're going to take a break and we'll be right back.
Hello， 大家好，我是 Hanny。这一次要读的故事是 The Monkey's Paw 猴掌。那么标题里面用到这个 paw， 它就是指脚掌、爪子，像是猫啊、狗啊、熊等等它们的脚掌。那么故事一开始就写到说，在一个湿冷的夜晚 ，White 一家人正在家里面放松。那么 Mrs. White 在壁炉旁边在织东西 ，Mr. White 跟儿子 Herbert 在下西洋棋。那突然间呢 ，Mr. White 的老朋友 Morris 就来访啦。他最近是从印度回来，就有分享了他旅游探险的故事。好，那接着 Mr. White 就问起他这个朋友 Morris 前几天曾经提到那个奇特的猴掌。 那很明显的，对方不太想谈论他哎，但是 Mr. White 又很坚持，于是呢，这位朋友就勉为其难从口袋里面拿出那个又干又皱的手掌，把它放在 White 他们家的餐桌上。我们来看看单字 fireplace。fireplace 就表示壁炉或是火炉。那么 reluctantly 它表示不情愿地或是勉强地。好，那么刚刚在讲到这个 Mrs. White 她在织东西 ，Matt 老师有提到 yarn 这个字 ，Y-A-R-N，yarn 表示纱线或是毛线。好，那么在讲到那个奇特又干干皱皱的手掌时，老师有提到 mummy 就是木乃伊。那么我们文中用到一个动词是 mummify， 跟它有关。mummify 表示把什么制成木乃伊，或者是使什么变得干燥起皱。好，那文中它只是用过去分词 mummified 来形容说是变得干干皱皱的。这边一个重点，我们要进入文法时间。好，我们来看这个重点是过去完成式 had 加上过去分词 pp， 这是指呢在过去某个动作或时间点之前早已经完成的动作或事情。那这个时态常常会搭配过去简单式来使用，比较早发生的就用过去完成式，那么后发生的用过去简单式。例如 The show had started by the time we got there. 我们到那里的时候呢，表演已经开始了。那么表演开始，这是先发生的事情嘛？那我们用过去完成式 had started。我们到那里是后发生的事，那我们用过去简单式 got。好，那我们继续回到课文中。
He explained that an Indian fakir had cast a spell on it. The paw had the power to grant 3 wishes each to 3 people. Sensing where the conversation was headed, Morris gravely stated that the previous owner's final wish was for death. After a moment of deep thought, he threw it onto the fire. Mr. White jumped up and snatched it from the flames. He begged his friend to give it to him. Morris refused at first, but finally agreed on the condition that the family wished only for sensible things.
Welcome back, everyone. So before the break, we were looking at an interesting story, right? It's called The Monkey's Paw. So we have this character, Mr. White, and he had an old friend named Morris, and he just came back from his trip to India, right?
Yeah, and I guess he had told Mr. White about a strange monkey paw that he had, and Mr. White wouldn't let him be quiet about it. He kept asking questions until Morris brought out the monkey's paw.
That's right. But then it's strange because Morris didn't really want to talk about it, though. Well, let's find out why.
Okay. So, Morris, we're talking about, he explained that an Indian fakir had cast a spell on it. The paw had the power to grant 3 wishes each to 3 people.
So casting a spell on something, like we know wizards or witches sometimes do that, right?
In this case, it's an Indian fakir, which is a holy man who has powers to do magic. So he cast a spell. To cast a spell means to do some magic to something, to make something magic.
That's right. So this monkey's paw now has magic, and you can actually, it grants people 3 wishes, right? Wow. So now, sensing where the conversation was headed, Morris gravely stated that the previous owner's final wish was for death. That is crazy. So the previous owner, that means the owner before, right? Okay, so the final wish was for death. So he wished for death?
So he had 3 wishes, because 3 wishes each to 3 people. So this previous owner had 3 wishes, and the last of his 3 wishes, he wished to die.
Oh no, that's not a good wish.
So that's why Morris gravely stated this. So gravely state something means to say something seriously, and usually where the results are something sad or bad. So it means to be very serious, but in a bad way also. So not that the consequences or the result will be anything good. So Carlos is gravely ill and may not have much time left.
So it's like seriously ill, right? He's
Seriously
like really,
ill.
really ill.
might not get better.
Oh, that's so sad. Okay, so now, after a moment of deep thought, he's like really thinking about it, okay? He's thinking, like being very serious about it. So he threw it onto the fire. So Morris did that, right? And Mr. White jumped up and snatched it from the flames. So snatching something, that means just to grab it quickly. So snatched it from the flames, and he begged his friend to give it to him. So I guess he really wants the monkey's paw.
Right, so Morris wanted to throw it onto the fire. He wanted to destroy it, to burn that monkey's paw. But Mr. White would not let him.
Maybe Mr. White wants some wishes, right?
I think that might be what he wants. Morris refused at first, but finally agreed on the condition that the family wished only for sensible things.
So when you say sensible things, sensible is an adjective. Basically, it just means having or showing good sense of judgment. Don't wish for anything too crazy. Like, the previous owner is like, oh, I wish to die. That's not something that's sensible, right?
Definitely not a sensible thing to wish for.
Exactly. So in our example sentence, it says compared to a burger and fries, a chicken salad is the sensible choice. That's right. It's a healthier choice, of course.
Yeah, it's more like the smart choice. The choice that's better for you is the sensible choice.
That's right. Okay, so I guess he's going to make some wishes, right? Now that he has the monkey's paw.
Yeah, now he has the monkey's paw, and now he has 3 wishes, so I'm excited to find out what he's going to wish for.
Me too.
And I guess we'll have to wait for part 2 to find out.
Okay, well,
We'll see you next time.
see you next time, guys.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
刚刚说 Morris 他勉为其难的拿出猴掌，然后放在 White 他们家的餐桌上。那 Morris 就解释说啦，有一名印度的苦行僧在上面施了魔法。那这个猴掌呢，就有能力可以实现3个人的3个愿望。我们先补充一下，文中提到这个 fakir 是指苦行僧，可能是印度教的这种苦行僧。那么 cast a spell on 加上名词，可以表达对什么施法下咒。那么这个动词 cast， 注意它的3态同形哦。好，那现在大家听到猴掌可以帮忙实现愿望，应该眼睛都亮了吧？不过呢 ，Morris 他接着严肃的说。先前啊，这个上一位猴掌的持有人，他的最后愿望是求死怎么会有人许愿让自己死去呢？难道这个猴掌会带来什么不好的事吗？好，这个 Morris 他就沉思了一下，把这个猴掌直接丢进火里。没想到 Mr. White 跳起来，把他从火焰当中抢走，他恳求 Morris 把这个猴掌给他。Morris 一开始拒绝嘛，但最后同意了，只是有一个条件，就是说这家人只能许愿那种合理的事物。好，我们来看单字 gravely。gravely 是副词，它表示严肃地，或是表情沉重地，也可以表达严重地。好，那么 sensible 它是形容词，形容明智的或是合理的。好，这边一个重点，我们要进入文法时间。好，我们来看这个重点是 on the condition 或者是 on condition that 主词加动词，这是表达在什么条件下，条件是点点点，只要怎么样怎么样的话，那就跟 only if 意思相同。那注意 condition 这个名词在这边就是指条件的意思。例如 I'll go to the party on condition that you come with me。只要你跟我一起去，我就去参加派对。好，那么以上这些讲解，同学别走开，马上回来哦。
It was a cold, wet night, and the White family was relaxing at home. Mrs. White was knitting by the fireplace, and Mr. White was playing chess with their son Herbert. Suddenly, there was a knock at the door. It was Mr. White's old friend Morris, who had recently returned from India. He told them stories about his travels and adventures. Mr. White asked about the strange monkey's paw that Morris had mentioned a few days ago. Morris clearly did not want to discuss it, but Mr. White insisted. Reluctantly, Morris produced the mummified paw from his pocket and placed it on the Whites' dinner table. He explained that an Indian fakir had cast a spell on it. The paw had the power to grant 3 wishes each to 3 people. Sensing where the conversation was headed, Morris gravely stated that the previous owner's final wish was for death. After a moment of deep thought, he threw it onto the fire. Mr. White jumped up and snatched it from the flames. He begged his friend to give it to him. Morris refused at first, but finally agreed on the condition that the family wished only for sensible things.
Hi, I'm Kiki.
And I'm Winnie.
And today we're going to play Guess the Bear, where we each have 3 cards and they have sentences on them where words or phrases have been replaced by the word bear, okay? And each person has 1 minute to guess. All right, let's start the clock. Adverb, 1 word. She didn't want to go, but she, Bear, said yes in the end. Bear, I agreed to his plan, although I didn't think it'd work.
Finally?
Nope. All right, let's try the next one. Adverb, 1 word. Locals are Bear concerned about the issue. John called to tell us that his mother is Bear ill.
Very. Really. Terribly.
Okay, no. 3 words, phrase. He accepted the job. Bear the bear, the company pays for his moving expenses. I'll agree to the changes. Bear the bear, you notify me sooner next time.
On the condition, okay, go back.
You're very close. Okay, adverb. Locals are Bear concerned about the issue. John called to tell us that his mother is Bear ill.
Oh, time's up.
Oh, okay, that was really hard. Adverb, 1 word, gravely. Locals are gravely concerned about the issue. John called to tell us that his mother is gravely ill. Phrase. He accepted the job offer on the condition that the company pays for his moving expenses. I'll agree to the changes on the condition that you notify me sooner next time. And the last adverb, reluctantly. She didn't want to go, but she reluctantly said yes in the end. Reluctantly, I agreed to his plan, although I didn't think it would work.
Oh, okay. Now, are you ready? 1 minute on the clock and noun. 1 word. The vet determined the dog had injured its bear. I taught my pug to shake hands with his bear.
Paw.
Nice. Noun, 1 word. The family gathered by the bear to tell stories. They hung stockings over the bear.
Fireplace.
Nice. Adjective, 1 word. Claire is smart, but not very bear. Telling them the truth is the bear thing to do.
Can you read the first one again, please?
Claire is smart, but not very bear.
Very.
Telling them the truth is the bear thing to do.
No. Right?
Claire is smart, but not very bear.
But not very bear. Claire is smart, but not very.
Telling them the truth is the bear thing to do.
Is the right thing to do.
Close.
Is the correct thing to do.
The bear thing to do.
The minimum.
Oh, your word was an adjective. 1 word. Sensible.
Sensible thing to do.
Claire is smart, but not very sensible. Telling them the truth is the sensible thing to do.
Oh, okay.
You're very close. Right? Sensible? Yeah, it does sound like sensible.